Welcome back to Reimagining Our Faith. On Monday, we started a conversation about when Jesus shared meals with people in the Gospel of Luke. While we are in the Christian season of Lent, there is a lot of attention that is given to the Last Supper. But did you know that Jesus actually shared 2 meals with people after his death and resurrection? In Luke's Gospel, the first people that Jesus reveals himself to are 2 travelers, one who is named Cleopas and the other is unknown. These men were on their way to Emmaus when a stranger joined them. The traveler tells Jesus about the wonderful things that have just occurred, still in the dark of Jesus' own identity. When they get to their destination, they urge Jesus, still a stranger to them, to stay the night and eat dinner with them. Jesus sits down, blesses the bread, and breaks it. This action reveals to them Jesus' true identity. At this revelation, Jesus vanishes from their sight. The actual Last Supper that Jesus had in Luke does happen with his disciples. Jesus appeared to them and they thought they were seeing a ghost. So Jesus asked them if they had anything to eat. He was offered a broiled fish and he ate it in their presence. Jesus explained to his disciples that everything written about him in the law of Moses, in the prophets, and in the Psalms must be fulfilled. After which he leads them out to Bethany and ascends into heaven. I find it fascinating that in the last chapter of Luke, Jesus appears and eats with his followers, not just on 1, but 2 different occasions. It almost makes you think that our deepest calling is to share a meal with one another. Okay, that might be taking it a little too far, but I do think that there is a lot to be said when we take time to slow down and share a table with one another. This leads me right back to the dinner that we have been taking a deeper look at. In Luke 14:15 through 24, Jesus is still at the house of the prominent Pharisee on the day of the Sabbath. Jesus, who had just healed a man of abnormal swelling and told the guest a parable of a wedding banquet where he condemned people who took higher seats than they deserved and exalted people who humbly took a lower seat, began to share a new parable of a great banquet, where many were invited, but upon hearing the invitation, they did not come. Instead, they made excuses that seemed absurd, but also familiar. My kids have sports, they all said, and didn't make it to the great feast. The thing that kept them from attending was not evil, but can still become a barrier to God's kingdom. When have good priorities become an excuse for avoiding God's call in your own life? I will join you again on Friday to discuss how much room is at God's table. As you go from here, reflect on today's question. When have good priorities become an excuse for avoiding God's call in your own life? And have the answer to this question help you to reimagine your faith.